Ramanuja Namaha. Srimate Ramanuja Namaha. Just as the churning of the Milky Ocean has produced a lot of opulential entities, whenever the circumstances of the world is churned by means of crisis, by means of impending and permeating dangers, their most great personalities emerge. Just as the churning, it produced opulential entities like Nectar, Airavata, Uchashravas, etc. Whenever there is a crisis, in the name of overruling of power, colonization, imperialism, racial discrimination, linguistic barriers, whatever may be the source for bifurcation, trifurcation, or the divisional ruling of the state, it creates such a crisis which results in the emergence of great personalities. Just as it has been quoted by Burke, it is the problem of the society which gives birth to great patriots. Patriots are born only in crisis. So we have taken two topics as an integral study. One is a crisis and second is about a personality. And the crisis happened at 1857. Even though there was a never-ending spirit of fighting against the aliens in the society, which started when the Trade Council of the East India Council that penetrated inside our waters. That it was started and the bitterness was showered, but still it took a final shape, a gigantic shape, and effective personification of the bitterness and opposition of the society has been shown only in 1857. So it is a hallmark. So that is a crisis, and that crisis has produced like Nana Sahib, Rani Lakshmi Bai. These are all the personalities like Tantiya Tope. Lot of personalities, they have emerged out of this crisis. So we are now, according to the analytical studies, history consists of two types. One is the mere theoretical history. Second is the applied and analytical history. Just reciting the incidents, just memorizing these things for examinations, just to understand about the life of people, their deaths, their ruling and other things, it has no purpose. History must be read and it must be revised with an analytical approach, but it contributes to the modern world, contemporary world, and how the messages can be taken to the modern generation. What are the differences, what are the similarities, how it can be taken to the other generations. That is the pursuit of the modern historical studies, which is known as analytical history or applied historical pursuit. On the basis of this thing, what we have to get from the crisis and crisis scrutiny, also from the personality, what we have to get for national security, national integrity and development, and social amicability, socio-economical development, political stability and other factors. That is a different subject to be decided in a different seminar itself. What history has taught us with 1857 and Jhansi Bai on these various issues, socio-political, economical, natural, global, all of these international relations, everything must be analyzed in a different perspective. To begin with, let me start with the basic biological instinct of everybody, that is known as liberty. Even if you put an ant inside a bottle, you must be saying that it will be tottering and crawling inside. So each one has its own basic instinct of liberty or freedom, by which it wants to move in its own course of function. Wherever it is decided to do, whether that is salubrious or futile, it may be pernicious or endangering, irrespective of the fructifiable status of its functional consequences, each and every species of the creation of God, it continues to exist in its own way of thinking and execution. So, especially this freedom and liberty, according to Shastras, because Shastras, they deal with Paratantriya, that is dependence. So dependence and independence, the Shastras give a different type of meaning. One is absolute independence, absolute dependence, independent dependence, dependent independence. These are the various ways. 4 major divisions. Even though if a person may be independent, for example, we are always independent in a free society, but we are dependent on the rules of the land, the constitution and other frameworks. It is known as dependent independence. Just as a child is tied to a cot, in order to have a free movement within a limited radius, without being exposed to danger creating substances like glasses or sharp objects or fire or something else, the mother used to tie. That is known as dependent independence. God has given us limited independence, but for that independence He has made us to be dependent on Him. According to Shastras, real independence is impossible. We are dependent on various things for our survival, development, other things. Shall I define independence as per the Vedas? Real and secure independence is to be dependent on the real independent who is God. Sarvatantrasya, Sarvatantra Swatantrasya, Purushasya, Paramatmanaha, Sharanara Vinde, Paratantriyanushtanam, Tatru Swatantriyam. Real independence is to be dependent on a really independent as well as a caring and merciful personality. Absolute independence, you have seen a lot of absolute independence of the rulers, which has resulted in imperialism and tyranny. Absolute independence within the citizens, that has created a careless, a structureless, a frame, networkless society, wherein when the people are nomadic in style, the people are prevaricated and perfunctory in their duties, the people are demoralized and aberrant in their spiritual, ethical and moral values. So, dependence and independence, you must ask 2 questions. What is independence and dependence? If you want liberation, what is that liberation? What are the things that you are to perform? What are the things that have been specified by the scriptures or by your conscience or by the society? To execute those things, you must not have any barriers. For executing that things, you must not have any control. For executing those things, you must not have any sort of demarcation. That is known as independence. So, independence is a specific nomenclature. Independence is a specific liberty given for you to be free to perform anything that caters to the development of you and the society. It does not give anything absolutely. You can do anything at any time for anybody. So, as you are in a global network and a national phenomena, anything that is within the framework of the all-round collective phenomenal salubrity and development for the society must be pondered by a person. So, dependence, if you are dependent on poverty, then the dependence is to be totally nullified. If you are dependent on national development, dependent on the security agents, dependent on the political agents, dependent on the intellectual authorities, so these dependents are known as benevolent dependence. It is known as benevolent dependence. And that type of independence in which the persons are binded with such a freedom which is very dangerous, which in Shastras we used to say a rejoiceable dependence and insecure independence. Apayakara Swatantriya and Surakshita Swatantriya. So we have to classify what is independence and dependence. Then we can compare 1857 with the 2008. Then we can see exactly the same situation is prevailing now. We can explain it. Somebody asked what is the difference between that post-independence and pre-independence India. I told that all the worldly denizens are our brothers. Before 1947 we have been troubled by our cousin brothers. Now we are troubled by our own brothers. We are troubled at all. If you put a classification between a colonial rule and also the modern pseudo-democratic rule, we have the same thing. That necessarily must produce entities like Jhansi Rani Lakshmi Bai. And that is the goal of this conference, which the message has to spread to the teachers, those who can create Jhansi Rani Lakshmi Bai. Those people have been created by 3 people. Jhansi Rani was having such a great family background. Like Drona and Ashwathama, they belong to Kshatriya Brahmana Parampara. Drona and Ashwathama, in spite of being Brahmins, Vinashaya cha Dushkritam, Parashurama has taken that. But unfortunately they have to serve with loyalty to Duryodhana, that is entirely different. But the bravery, misplaced bravery, that was there with them. It was properly placed bravery. It is known as a potential Brahminhood. Sharma is a civil power and Varman is known as that administrative power or military power. That's why the people are affixed with those things in their family names, traditional names. Likewise, the Sharma Shakti of the family tradition of Jhansi Rani Lakshmi Bai has unavoidably to take a Varma Prakara Vikara in order to protect her pride, which is nothing but the pride of the nation and its descendants, dependents and inhabitants. That is her rule, and that was the compulsion of the time for which she took that. So something that comes by tradition, one, something by the initiation of mother like Shivaji and Kapila Devahuti or Kayatu for Prahlada, something comes from Acharya, Samartha Ramadasa. So we have to impart these things to the children themselves, number one, the teachers who mold the children, number two, the parents who mold. At least if they start now, the third or fourth generation can produce such possibilities. If you start now, even if you start now, it will take 4 generations. So that is the purpose of such type of conferences, to define real independence and dependence, and where independence is worse than dependence, and where independence proper and celebrated dependence is better than independence. These type of analytical and logistic and logical studies of the real values of independence and dependence we have to take. Let me give you a small brief about this 1857, very much comparable to the situation. I have already told it has taken a shape in 1857. Even before that, not only the religious reasons behind the Sipai mutiny, the long felt collective bitterness and opposition within all the people, the peasants, the nobles, lords, businessmen, trade people, everybody, they had a lot of these things. They were not able to make it with a magnanimous outburst. That volcanic eruption could not be made for different reasons. Starting from 1763 to 1856, there were a lot of problems in various areas because of the agricultural and forestry wealth totally that have been misappropriated by the British people, resulting in mass deprivation and also severe rural poverty, which has resulted for the first reason for bitterness. And second thing, taxes have been heavy. Free services have been received that has been sucked from the farmers and poor society. Apart from which, lot of such predicaments have been made by the British colonial rule. And even if you appeal to the courts, it will be dismissed. Blindly it will be dismissed. So at first, when in the year 1856, there was a commission or a department of torture established at Madras. Enquiry for torture at first 1856. Then it went to the House of Commons. House of Commons, the great people, they acknowledged really the British Empire, the British regime is giving torture to the people. Untold injuries are suffered by the people. It has been acknowledged by them. And Lord Dalhousie, even before that 1855, he made a report that clearly he has mentioned that not only torture is there at Madras, in all British occupied colonies, torture has become a very common, obvious product. So such things has resulted in lot of volcanic eruptions in various regions. One is known as coal uprising, and second is the very famous Sipai mutiny of 1806. At Vellore there was one Sipai mutiny at 1806, even before these things. So they could not do anything because of, number one, the communication system of British, it was highly sophisticated. Number two, they are having fireworks. They are having fire machines. Such type of sophisticated machinery was not available with our people, the strugglers and the revolutionaries of our area. Moreover, integrity was not also there. They are all segregated by province, language and other things. They could not do that. That has resulted in lot of other confusions. Already the Sipais, they were just trembling inside, out of fear, and boiling inside, out of anger. Because of, number one, they have been put into very hazardous troubles in wars, like Anglo-Burmese war, then the British-Afghan war, and 2 Punjab wars. Moreover, they are shipped to go to other wars also, like the famous opium wars at China, and the war that has been made in 1954 with Russia. These people, they have been packed and they have to be separated from the family and suffer. And at great risk, they have to be working for the British people. And more than that, they have been put into Maharwari taxation system at UP. And UP was the only stationed center for most of the soldiers of the Bengal regime. Bengal regime consisted of 1,40,000 soldiers with 26,000 of administrators from British Navy and Army. And these people, they followed that UP rules, and their residents of UP, their family relatives, kith and kin, they have to suffer this taxation system of 70%. And moreover, the whole nativity was spoiled by an unhealthy competition of British imported products, which has made totally the natural, artistic and aesthetic skill of our nation, with cobblers, starting from cobblers, carpenters, masons, blacksmiths, coppersmiths, Goldsmith, everybody, their status has been reduced to poverty and beggary. So all of this, even the Mughals, the so-called treachery elements, they themselves respected the diversity in the craft industry of our country. These people, they did not. They did the same thing. What is happening now? The farmers are committing suicide. And Reliance, like MNC companies, they are opening, multinational companies are opening lot of farmer-oriented organic products and other things. They are flourishing in one side. So the society is flourishing with MNCs, nourishing the multi-millionaires, but perishing the peasants and the farmers of the society. Is it a salubrious, equi-distributed society? Is it a society of social justice and equality? The same thing prevails in a different form. The same wine in a different bottle prevails now. So likewise, this resulted, May 10, 1857, to form a big army to protest against all of those administrators of the British Empire. Then they raided all the treasury, broken of the prisons, and totally attacked all government offices. And whatever they are doing with the public properties now, I am just comparing. They have done with the British occupied government offices, everything. Now the revolution is they are attacking public, either by bombing or by strike. It may be ugly, smart, cheap or better, whatever the methodology of bombing now. What is the cheap bombing? It is not real bombing at all. You put strike, everybody will suffer. So lot of these non-parliamentary, asabhya, non-parliamentary and anger-provoking and poverty-provoking and that which collapses the social integrity and development, that is also followed now. Then they created a council of administration. The council of administration had 10 members. They did the abolishment of taxes. Now we have to fight for the same thing, abolishment of taxes, not abolishment, proper distribution of taxes. 27th I am having a lecture on pre-budget discussion. If relaxation in a particular area, don't be thinking that the government is doing some benefit to you. It will be overburdened in some other area. It is known as hidden cost. In a cleverly planned clandestine manner, it will be overburdened in some other section where you will be trapped. The same thing is happening now. Abolishment of taxes, liquidation of jamindars. Now also land mafia is there. I am just comparing. Same thing prevails. Liquidation of jamindars was done by the Court of Administration, 1857, May 10. Same thing is now in land mafia. Everybody purchasing hundreds of acres. They are the controllers. They are all the pseudo jamindars or the neo jamindars, the new jamindars of the era. And third thing is to put Indian officers in all offices. Fourth thing, Indians for trade. Where there are Indians of indigenous trade has been affected at all. So these are all some reforms which they made. And it resulted, you see now we have to decide, it resulted in the great provocation of anger, that is the wrath of the British, which poured in lot of man and arm power. And this has been helped by two major people. One, the trade union people who are supported by, who have grown obese by the British policies, they supported British. And the betrayal of some princes from the Marathan and Sikh regions and Rajasthani princes that contributed. You know what Canning told about Lord Sindh, that is the Scindia, the ruler of our land, Gwalior. If Scindia joins the rebel, I will pack off tomorrow. That much confidence he is having on Scindia that he will not join. Scindia did not join, he fully supported British people. Such people, countably 20 or 30 princes, they openly supported the British and the trade union supported the British, out of which 1857 was totally downtrodden and the people were trampled inside, and it resulted in May 8, 1858. It resulted in a big massacre. Just it has been observed by Fenwick, a very great critic and writer. He told, nowhere we see in the European and American countries such a rule, brutal rule like this British rule, where violence, massacre and plundering the public wealth, these things are prohibited by all healthy nations and civilized nations in the world. But these things has become the slogan of the British rule, and it has become a daily practice. So at Awadh itself, 1,50,000 people were put into massacre, and 1 lakh people, more than 1 lakh people, they were civilians. And a very great Urdu poet, he commented like this: I have been seeing before me today a river of blood. A river of blood. Likewise, it resulted in 1858. It is very important. Why 1857 is important? You know that? 1857 only, is the particular year where a special policy was very cleverly handled by the British. It is known as Divisive Communal Gulf, DCG. And whatever the problems that we are facing now, or we are going to face even after 100 years, that is only the contribution and blessing of that divide and rule policy. That has created the result of hatredness inside, communal clashes, caste divisions, bomb blasts, which is still happening throughout the world at Mumbai and Hyderabad and wherever the places are there. Which has created Pakistan, which has created Bangladesh. Everything was the blessings of the divide and rule policy. So we have driven them, the British. British have been totally driven away. Now 1857 is over and we have crossed 1.5 centuries. But still we are doing that. For example, if there is a scorpion which bites you, it will go away. But the pain will also go with the scorpion or not? It will not go. It will, through its sting, instill inside you the painful venom which must be now totally mitigated and extirpated by a capable physician, by a medical suggestion and practice. Now what we have done is, 1947 has driven only the scorpion, it has not driven the poison out of the social organism. That is what I want to say now. It has created lot of people in the society. Now we want to have lot of people like that. I have told in one conference about terrorism and patriotism. Why terrorism is that is fruitful and patriotism does not work out. I told terrorists, they preach terrorism from their heart and they really work for it. That is why it is happening. Patriotism, they just speak and advertise and advise. So it is not happening. The intensity of the terrorist form to install and to permeate and to propagate terrorism, equi-instinctive, equi-potential commitment, dedication and contribution is not with the patriots. Such a people sitting inside a place, we have to create volunteers who must go to the sub-rural, rural, suburban, tribal areas of violence, areas of that is sentimental eruption, areas of caste discriminations, areas of racial discrimination, areas of suppression, areas of poverty and power of wealth analysis. These type of different abnormal as well as the informal structures, pernicious structures, they must be put as a map. What is there in putting a map or graph with Jammu Kashmir, Gujarat, then Pakistan, other things? That is not a map to be put now. That is too late. We have to put a map. With Indian map, we have to put and mark it with colors and demarcation that it is an area of drought, it is the area of flood, it is the area of mineral wealth, it is the area of paucity, it is the area of illiteracy, it is for the infant mortality rate that is intensified, it is for female foeticide and infanticide. Such a map must be put by the Aikya Bharati, which is the real Aikya Bharati. Put a map and present the same before me when I am attending the next function, if you invite. So now I have to conclude just with the 3 questions and simple answers. Number 1, normally it must occur in all minds. Number 1, what is the message today? Number 1, we have to create a problem analysis and mapping, just as I have already told, and how either it is equal or more than the situation of 1857, it must be first finalized. Number 1. Number 2, persons like Jhansi Rani, it has been told in the Shastras, Yoga Brashto Abhidayate. If somebody dies, he died with Jai Hind. Somebody dies with their inquisitiveness unquenched, with the mission of their life unfulfilled, those people will be born again. And number 1. Number 2, such people who fight for the nation and leaves the soul, they reach Chandraloka and great planets, great celestial level planets. What is the role of the departed people who participated in the freedom struggle? Still they live in the minds of people as inspiration, number 1. Number 2, they must have taken number of births, because somebody who really commits, nobly commits themselves for the nation, till they see that the nation is flourished, till they see that the brothers, the fellow brothers are in happy mood, real happy mood, not this momentary happiness out of media, entertainment, other things. Real happy mood out of tranquility and prosperity, they will be continuously taking birth. They may be from us, they may be above us, they may be from us, they may be somewhere outside or inside. We cannot just see those things with our limited mamsachakshush fleshy eyes. It needs a super descriptive paravision. So they are still with us, giving us courage. What is courage and bravery? Courage and bravery It does not require success. What is courage and bravery? Courage and bravery, it shows your commitment and unshakable dedication in disobedience to any unhealthy or unruly elements. That is known as disobedience to unruly elements. Na nameyam tu kasyachit. I won't surrender myself to such elements. That type of commitment and disobedience to obedience to great people and disobedience strongly against unworthy elements is courage and bravery. Whether they have fought and succeeded or not is a second question. So even though they have not succeeded, you know that Janaki did not succeed at all. Just as Karna was totally betrayed by his chariot, she was betrayed by her horse. Moreover, the people, his father was hanged and executed by the British. And moreover, the British, they continue to rule for one more century. But still, whatever the commitment that they made, the disobedience, that is bravery and courage. So wherever you succeed or not, don't obey for any unruly elements. Whether it may be from your cousin brothers or brothers. Nowadays the world is very different. You need not put a battalion, army and other things. There are two other ways. Cultural infiltration and trade agreement. To rule a country means to dominate. To dominate a country, they need not utilize their power of military or at the cost of losing the lives of their own soldiers also and also spending millions of dollars. They do not do now. Now they have done a lot of things like Indo-nuclear impact, MNC companies, American trade companies. Like through trade, we can create an expectation in the economy. I told one thing with the External Affairs Secretary. Any growing country, how it will spoil the developing countries, I have given a very good example. They will pose as if they have made $300 million of investment in nuclear power or in weapons or arsenals. They will pose. They could have done for at least 30 million or it may be even a full show. And seeing this, the developing countries also want to dress like developed countries. It is imitation is there, na? Pseudo imitation. It is just like something that is, it is said to be the cat's imitation of the tiger. Like this, developing countries, by getting loan from IMF and the World Bank, or even grown countries like France, Germany, and US, UK, etc., they will develop their military thing without considering about the agriculture, health sciences, education and other development. By making these people totally liable and responsible for the debts, those companies, those major power blocks, those nations and their represented companies will root in our country and they will destroy our economy. Even though now our budget is 55% destroyed by international power agencies, 45% only by us. So now also we are having the same rule in a very cheap, elegant, majestic, smart manner. The same thing is advised. How to get liberation from this, how to get real independence, that we have to do. And finally I want to say something. Somebody asked me a question. How many temples are there in the land? How many sadhus were there? How many great people were there? Where those people they have gone? What about their power? What about their commitment? What about their spirituality? Where it has gone at the time of the Muslim invasion, British colonization? I have already told in yesterday's lecture, belief is different from power. Who believes in wealth more than the rich person? The poor person. A poor man believes in wealth more than the rich, but he believes and anticipates our dreams. Whereas the rich person, he has a materialized process and having the power of wealth in his hand. So belief in God for our own benefits, either Ishtaprapti or Anishta Nivar, either to ward off our evils or God as a cow from which we can milk all of our benefits. That is the belief for our development. It is not for the development of our nation or for the contribution to God himself. So now whatever we are having, just as by friction in ancient days we produced fire, like that we are all stones. If we are dry and somebody could make a friction, the inner spark, it can be scintillated, which can grow into a radiant, brilliant and effulgent blazing fire which will ward off the total evils of the society, making our country once more the torch bearer or the lighthouse or the guide light for the whole globe. Also ourselves to be the patrons of the enlightened tradition of the whole cosmic history. I wish that it should happen, and it must be made possible only by continuous seminars and organizing such conferences and workshops and spreading the message in regional languages to various people, and also conducting competition. They are studying about unwanted things, about studying about a recent politician, somebody who is not worthy to be thought at all. Even if he is thought, we must take bath. Such people are now read with great reverence. So that must go away. Such people, worshipable people, and of the modern students and generations, which if done now, it will take at least 40 to 50 years from today to get whatever we want and whatever he wants. Narayana.
Don't forget to hit like button. Please subscribe to our channel for more such videos. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.